Hello everybody and welcome to a bit of a different video, but if you don't already know, I am Harbo Wholmes, and over the last 2 or so years I've been going through all of modern Doctor Who from Rose all the way up to current day and reviewing every single episode along the way. But 2 years is a long time and your metrics can change over that time, as a lot of people found out when I got to the Moffat era. Now, as I feel like I have to state a lot of times, I don't hate the Moffat era. I really don't. I like Moffat as a writer. It's just Series 5 I don't really gel with. But in the interest of fairness, I thought I would go back and do a re-ranking of the Davies era, just to kind of look back and give it the same treatment I gave it to the Moffat era so far. Because, you know, by the time I got to Series 5, I was a lot harsher, and as you will see with some of the rankings I've put for these episodes, I was quite lenient. So we're just going to go through and kind of rebalance things, see if anything can be knocked down or pushed up in some cases. So yeah, that's what we're doing today, and let's get into it. So obviously we're going to start from Series 1, which I reviewed back in 2020, very early on. So all these were from back then, and my first go at kind of doing an ongoing review score. And I feel like there is a couple of these that I should shift around a bit. So first of all, I'm probably going to move Dalek down, which I know it sounds crazy because that was the first ever S rank I gave. But when you just kind of look back at it, and then when you judge it with the other episodes I was going to give S ranks, I don't really think they're in kind of the same. It's still very good, like a 9 out of 10, but it doesn't quite have that extra oomph to make it an S rank. But on the other hand, I think the finale gets elevated to an S rank, because the more I think about it, the more that finale is beloved and popular for a reason, because it's so good. It's such a good finale, and yeah, I think that has to go in S rank, just because of the perfect way it wraps everything up, and it's got such a good regeneration. Then probably the other main one I'd want to change is the long game. I'd probably move that down. I like the long game, but when you just kind of compare it, that being higher than some of the ones in later lists just kind of feels a bit, it doesn't really feel right. So it would probably even things out a bit. Yeah, so I feel like when the tier list is like this, it looks a bit more representative of Series 1. Because it is one of the best modern series, but, you know, there are episodes that are a lot weaker, and I feel like kind of looking past my personal bias of the long game, it doesn't quite, it doesn't match up to these three, or the ones that would be in later B tier lists. So yeah, so I think I'm now happy with this. I feel like that's more of an accurate representation of the series. So here we are at Series 2, which a lot of people actually accused me of being too harsh on in my overall review. And I feel like I need to update the tier list to kind of reflect how, not weak I think Series 2 is, just I think this flatters it a bit too much. So first off, I'm probably going to say Christmas Invasion in C tier. I mean, I rewatched it recently and it didn't hold up as much as it did when I rewatched it for this. Yeah, I feel like it has to be downgraded. I don't think it's a B. It's just one of those gut feelings you get. And then similarly, Runaway Bride, probably also a C. I just think they're two decent specials, but that's all they are. They're just kind of middling. And then last of all, in the Series 2 tier list, I can't in good conscience keep Fear Her at a C. It is so bad it's good, but it's not that so bad it's good. You know, I think it has to be downgraded. It's definitely not as bad as Tooth and Claw. I still absolutely hate Tooth and Claw, but Fear Her it's not a C. It is definitely not a C. So yeah, I'm definitely more satisfied with that now. I feel like that kind of shows how middling Series 2 was. These stay the same. Even New Earth stays at a B. I just have a real soft spot for it. And same with Love and Monsters. I actually really like Love and Monsters. Because, you know, Idiot's Lantern is very much that kind of bang average. Because that's what C is. C is like the middle, right? It's just kind of there. It's like 5 or a 6. Because an S rank is like a 10, or an A is anywhere from an 8 to a 10 that isn't 10, like best possible 10. Then a B is like a 7, C is 5 or 6, D is 4 or 3, E is 2, F is 1 or 0. That's kind of, it's not set in stone, it's not like for like, that's kind of a rough outlook as to what the comparisons would be. So yeah, I think that's more accurate now. Series 3 is a very tricky one because it is one of my favourite series, but it's the gulf in quality between the first half and the second half is very significant. And I think this tier list already kind of shows that, but it's definitely too lenient in some areas, so we're going to fix that. So first of all, I'm going to do something I've never really done before and put like a 42 between an E and a D. It's not bad enough to be an E, but it's not good enough to stay a D. It's bad, like, but it's Tennant and Adjaman and Murray Gold are good, and that stops it from being an E, but then it can't get up into a D, so it's in the middle of those two. And then that pretty much, because of the way weighted systems work, means I can now bring Lazarus Experiment down into a D, Infinite Quest as well. Probably pretty much this whole C tier kind of becomes D in this scenario. I feel like, yeah, it kind of just becomes like that. I do not like Voyage. Lazarus Experiment is just very badly paced, and Infinite Quest is just, again, it's a weird kind of bad paced experiment thing. It's not great. They are some very weak parts of Series 3. But everything else, I think, up here is fine. That can all stay. So, now we come to the final series of the Davies era. And I won't lie, there isn't really anything I would change about this one, apart from probably one. Just one change I would make. And that's bringing the Doctor's Daughter down to a C. Apart from that, I think everything fits. It's such a good series. I can't think of any other combination this would be in. I feel like Doctor's Daughter, it's just wrong to be up here with these two because these are very good. Partners in Crime is a very good comedic episode. It does a good job reintroducing Donna, showing their dynamic together, and Planet of the Ood is a really good third outing that kind of, it gives Donna a reason to want to go home after seeing horrors, showing that, you know, it's not all the life she thought it was. It's a good character story, and it's a very good, like, socio-political story. Whereas Doctor's Daughter, it's a very gimmicky episode, and I don't feel like it can match up to those other two, because it's like, hey, the Doctor has a daughter now, and hey, you know, maybe she's another Time Lord. Ooh. And yeah, there's a cool twist of the whole short generational war. But I don't think that carries the episode by itself. It doesn't really use Martha very well, and it is quite a forgettable and bland episode. So it's got to go back down to a C. There's no way it can be a B. Okay, and now if we look at the Series 5 tier list, I think it now evens out a lot better. It's not as extreme of a shift as those previous ones. I'm still sticking with what I ranked these episodes. I'm not shifting on that, but I did feel like I had to go back and balance it out because now it's a lot more even. Because I know it might look weird having Pandora opens here, but the Big Bang is so bad it drags it down like 2 whole levels because it's not a good final episode. I'm not a huge fan of Series 5, and I feel like people who said I was harsh on it will now understand that it wasn't me being harsh on it for, you know, a particular reason. I was basically just getting harsher in general because now I can go back and change around some grades in the Davies era now that I have a better idea of being a harsh reviewer and not being so lenient for nostalgia. So yeah, that will do it for this tier re-ranking, whatever we'd call it, just kind of rebalance, I don't know. But you may have noticed I didn't do the Series 4 specials. I didn't really feel a need to. I'm pretty comfortable with where they are still. So yeah, there was no need to change anything there. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you now understand a bit more that I wasn't being unnecessarily harsh. And I will see you eventually when the Series 6 reviews start back up. So see you then. Bye bye. And I'd like to give an extra special thank you to my Diamond level patron, Fallon Cortez, and all my Gold level patrons, Alex Marston, Basil Disco PhD, Calvin, Daniel Shillito, Francois aka Line Vortex, George, Herna Verzog, and Stefan Never Miller. Thank you so much for your support.